Hi, good night, everyone. Hope that you all are hearing me clearly. As I said last night and tonight, we're going to be doing the program like this. So I hope everyone is in. I'm seeing here, I shared the link via Facebook for those who usually join via Facebook because I'm unable to join on Facebook. I'm unable to join the live via Facebook. So I have placed the link to tonight's program over on Facebook so folks will be able to go over there. And again, the lights is making it difficult for me to see with the lights how I do have them. But I'm trying my very best to to do the show for as long as I can, as I am doing it right now. So a special good night to each of and every one of you. I'm seeing Denise Fabio. I'm seeing Ron, Julian, Veronica Lewis, Public Notice, Christine Otley, Baby Daddy, good night to you. Denise Joseph, Jacinta Livingston, good night. Phyllis Mitchell, Jackie Raymond, Shirma Jeremiah, Osbert James, Good Life, Carib Spice, Mayana, Shirley and James, Claude Abraham, Alan Jones, good night to you. Good night to Michelle and good night to Zoe Allen. Vaughn Wellington, good night to you. Anna Andrews, Errol Bonaparte, Osbert James, Deborah Laborde, Gavin Thomas, Listra Abraham, Marilyn Ferguson, good night. Debbie Seals, Alban Harris, good night to you, bro. I hope everything is okay now. Wilfred Antoine, Maud Martin, I see Francis George, Agnes Henry, Deborah Laborde, Janice Mitchell, Gillian Noel, Ashma Charles, Faithlyn Halley Douglas, Kathleen Ledlow, Cynthia Bartholomew. Let me see who else is there now. Carl Jones, good night to you. Who else is there? Who else is there? Cindy Thomas, Red Girl Pascal, J. Fitzroy Philip, McLean Mitchell, John Mark, Jocelyn Mattison, Anna Lewis, Carl Jones, Earl Benjamin, Denot Amada, Velma Pascal, Clive Raymond. So I'm seeing all of you coming in under the live. So come on, yeah, come in under the live. Let's get the thing started. Good night to you, brother Adrian Watts. Arlene, good night to you as well. I have set up to be able to take calls only via WhatsApp, though. I am not sure if it's going to work because last night I was trying to play audio and it didn't come through. And to test it out, I would have had to go live to test it out, which I didn't want to do. So we're going to test it out during the program. We're going to try to take a call via WhatsApp and see if the WhatsApp is working. Yeah, we're not on Facebook. We're not on Facebook, but as I've always said, if you recognize that we are not on Facebook, check the YouTube because Facebook from time to time has its issues. So there are nights sometimes that we can't go live via Facebook. And that's why I always say subscribe to the YouTube. So if you are using the YouTube for the first time, you usually use Facebook, I would suggest that you subscribe to the YouTube so that anytime we have a similar issue again, you will get us because you will get a notification. But not only do you have to subscribe, you also have to click, and that I can't wear the glasses. I'm sorry, I can't. It's yeah. So I'll suggest that you click on the subscribe button. You'll see the subscribe button on the YouTube. Click on subscribe and also click on the bell icon so that you could get all the notifications. It's going to give you an option of whether you want all the notifications. You can click on that. It will tell you when we go live. It will tell you half an hour before we go live. It will tell you that we're going live in half an hour. It will give you all the information that you need to get when we are going live. Jocelyn, yeah, what's your daughter's name? Give my daughter a shout out, please. She just arrived today from England. What's her name, Jocelyn? And let me see. Arlene, good night to you. Roslyn Jones, Vanessa Lalji, Miriam, my dear, how are you? Sunny Isle, Chris London, Lindsay, good night to you. Karen Williams, Eliza Bernard, Jocelyn, I lost the list I had with your children's names, so you'll have to send the name for me. Anne-Marie Celestine Grant, good night to you. Eliza Bernard, Karen Williams, good night to you all. Olive McKeown, Olive, all right. Olive McKeown, good night to you, my dear. Hope everything is going all well and okay with you. And Sandra, good night to you, my dear. St. Lucia in the house. I'm not too far from there, you know. Dolores Redhead, good night. Beavis John Sherma, Alexander, good night. Oh, you're out there in Calgary. Good night to the Canadian squad. We've got in Calgary, we've got in Alberta. Well, I don't know the difference between sometimes I call in a place and it's in another place. But all of you out there in Canada, our loyal listeners, Springs people, JC, I know you're listening. Right. Nesta Sinclair, Diana Romney, Beavis, I see you there. Jocelyn Matheson, Dr. Julie Dubois. Yes, good night to you, my dear. Veronica Rodney Barry. All right. Yeah. Hope all is well with all of you. Yeah, I hope all is well with all of you. Just say hi in the chat, and I'll know that you are there. All right. Just say hi in the chat so that I will know that you are there. So, all right. Yeah. So I'm seeing right. Yeah. So those of you who usually, if you can post it to your Facebook as well, that we are live. So Andra Burke, good night to you. So the folks who usually join on Facebook, I hope that they come over. They need to know that we're on YouTube. And I always suggest to people they come over to YouTube because on YouTube, when someone else is looking at the YouTube, unless you make a comment, they cannot tell that you're online. On Facebook, anybody that signs in could just look at who's viewing with them and they could see the name and they know you're there. That's why we don't focus as heavily on Facebook as we focus on YouTube because we recognize that we're dealing with a bunch of people who thin skin, a bunch of people who like to ensure that they victimize people. And as such, that's why we focus more heavily on the YouTube rather than the Facebook so that folks can join in. And it could be, so if you don't want to be recognized, you just don't say anything in the chat so we won't call the name. And then, but you're there and nobody else can see that you're there. With Facebook, anybody that signs in can see that you're there as well. Agatha Williams, good night. Agatha Williams, Christine Alexander, Cicely Celestine, Stephanie John, J. Dixie Ann, my solar girl, Leroy St. Paul, good night to all of you. So we're just waiting for the numbers to build up a bit before we get into tonight's discussion. If someone can give me, let me see, if someone, Socks, I meet one of your friends a little while ago, man. I met one of your friends a little while ago. Yeah. Yeah. So I met one of your friends a little while ago. So I sure his message, they message you, man. Yeah. Don't worry, Marilyn. I ain't worried about that. Yeah, so good night, good night. I'm seeing Sean Batiste, Lenora George, Kieran Regis, Leroy St. Paul, Gemma Warwood. Yeah, good night to you. All right, Agatha Batiste. Yeah, no, when I wear the glasses, you realize that the light is reflecting in it. That is giving me a problem being able to see the screen and see the comments and so on. That's why I've taken the glasses off. So I could see close by enough. Yeah, I might have to move in slightly, but I can see a little closer. I can see what is being said there. All right, John Batiste, good night to you. Right, good night to all of the of you that are joining via the various mediums and so on. Let me just send this out to my good friend Noise Radio. Good night to the folks on Noise Radio. I'm not sure if they're on with us tonight because one of the issues we have is that I am not able to stream to the normal streamer there. Winnie Simon, good night. And I see Dolores, I see you, Jillian, I see you as well. And folks, remember to like and share the program. We are not on the usual platform. I see you all doing pretty good. We're up to 58 likes there already. Remember to like and share the program so that we can begin tonight's discussion. All right. Good night to you, Magdalene Henry, and I see Oliver Williams. Good night to you, Gillian Francis. Yeah, so I'm seeing all of you there. I hope that you all are having a wonderful night and everything has been going okay with you all. Yeah. So as I said, just say hi under the chat so we know. Sherry, I see you now. Yeah, so I know that you are there as well. Lucy Queen. I ain't find I seen Lucy Queen, you know. Yeah, I seen some of my St. Lucian people. I ain't seen the others, you know. You all know I love St. Lucia. All right. Jadel McFarlane, good night to you. And Leo, good night to you as well. Hope that you all have been having a wonderful one. Folks, Parliament sitting took place today. It was a very interesting Parliament sitting. And Deborah A. Cuz, what's up? Shirley and James, good night to you as well. Now, folks, I was looking at the Parliament sitting today. Today's Parliament sitting. I didn't get to view the whole thing because I was actually in a session for the entire day today. Not too long came out from that session, so I didn't have time to view the entire Parliament sitting today. But I was lucky enough to view the presentations, the ministerial presentations during the Senate today. Kim Creedland, good night. And again, when ministers are speaking, when they're talking, they have a responsibility to the Parliament of Grenada. They have a responsibility. They have a responsibility to the Parliament of Grenada. They have a responsibility as well to the people of Grenada. They have a responsibility to their supporters and even the people who don't support them to be truthful when they're making statements in Parliament. Now, every statement that is made in the Parliament of Grenada, those statements are recorded in a book, a document called the Hansard. Well, you say a book, but it's really just storing the files. It is recorded digitally, and if people request, they ask for a copy of the Hansard, they can get it. There can be a parliament sitting 100 years from now, and somebody asks for the Hansard from today, and it has to be provided. It's part of the rules in the House and so. Or if somebody claims that someone said something, you can ask for the Hansard to clear up whether or not that is what the person said. So the Hansard is a very important document, yeah? And as such, what is being said in the parliament must be truthful. And I've seen a statement being made today. The present Minister of Youth and Sport, Mr. Jonathan Lacret, or Senator Jonathan Lacret, made some statements in regard to the Grenada Invitational. Now, he said that he talked on it to say that he can't talk on it, which I found to be very, very strange. He talked on the Grenada Invitationals to say that he can't talk on the Grenada Invitationals. And they have been trying their very best. Anastasia, blessed night to you as well. They have been trying their very best to lay at the feet of the Grenada Invitationals group that was there, the board of directors who controlled, and the local organizing committee that controlled the Grenada Invitational. These individuals have been trying their best to lay at the feet of the Grenada Invitationals, the people who ran it, and especially Mr. Dexter Mitchell. They have been trying to lay the blame at his feet, but you can't lay the blame at his feet. If the Grenada Invitational Committee, through Mr. Dexter Mitchell, for close to 2 to 3 weeks has been trying to meet with the Prime Minister of Grenada to inform said Prime Minister that there is a problem regarding finances and they need to be assured that they will receive the finances. You can't go and tell the Grenada Invitational Committee, we are giving you $350,000 and expect them to be able to go and book hotel rooms and do different things, pay who they have to pay, and so. And you promise them the $350, but they have nothing in writing saying so. You don't do business that way. Yeah, business is not done that way. And this individual keeps trying to call on Facebook, but we can't answer on Facebook. So you can't do that. Now, I heard the minister say that there was a cabinet met in April, late April. I can't remember the exact date. It was the 22nd or 25th or something. So he said that cabinet met and considered a proposal by the Grenada Invitational for financing, and they approved money for the Grenada Invitational. Well, if that is the case, why did you all not speak to the Grenada Invitational and send it an official document to them saying that you have given $350,000 to the Grenada Invitational? Folks, the first time that the Grenada Invitational Committee got anything in writing from the government of Grenada that they were getting. I remember they said in April, the first time they got that was last week, Monday, when they announced that they will not be staging the invitational due to a lack of financing. Yeah, that is what they stated. So I don't know what Senator Lacrette needs to hear from anybody else from. If you are told through an official release from the Grenada Invitational that there was a problem in relation to financing, and as such, they had to cancel the games, what more you need to hear? You heard the reason that the games had to be canceled. For how many weeks Mr. Mitchell and the Grenada Invitational crew were trying to meet with the Prime Minister? The response of Mr. Deacon and Miss Mitchell, the Prime Minister of Grenada, to the Grenada Invitational was he can't meet with them. Not that I can't meet with you today, I'll meet with you all tomorrow, or I'll meet with you all next week. His response was that he doesn't have the time, he can't meet with them. Now we are trying to find out, ask the Prime Minister why he couldn't meet with Mr. Mitchell and the Grenada Invitational people. Ask him what was the issue. Why was he either unwilling or unable? Because we don't know if he was just unwilling to do it or if he was unable to do it. Yeah? So when you come and try to give the impression that you need to speak to Mr. Mitchell, Dexter Mitchell, to find out, wrong Mitchell you want to speak to, Laco. The Mitchell you need to speak to is Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell. That is the Mitchell, not Dexter Mitchell. Wrong D Mitchell. You need to speak to Mr. Deacon Mitchell, not Mr. Dexter Mitchell. You are the wrong Mitchell you need to speak to. Because the Prime Minister made himself unavailable to speak to the folks who were in charge of the Grenada Invitational. They saw what was happening. They knew that they had financial issues. The various banks, credit unions, etc. in Grenada were approached. They did not fund the Grenada Invitational. All who crying and talking about all kind of thing now. The National Lottery Authority, maybe Senator Lacrette, as the minister in charge of the National Lottery Authority, I think that should be under your portfolio, youth, sports, and culture. So I don't know if it's under you or if it's under, but it's supposed to be under the Ministry of Youth in line. You probably need to ask the board of directors of the Grenada National Lottery Authority what happened to funding the Grenada Invitational. And while you're at it, speak to your cabinet colleagues and find out, since they claim to have made $1.3 billion, and we know it's only 300 million plus that they brought in 2023, how come the CBI unit so broke that they could not support the Grenada Invitational? Yeah, that's who you need to go and speak to, not Mr. Dexter Mitchell. They already stated what was the reason that they could not stage the Grenada Invitational. They've already stated that. So there is a reason that they were unable to stage the Grenada Invitational, and they stated what the reason was. Not because people weren't willing to come to Grenada. Today, Lyndon Victor posted on social media today basically his frustration that, look, he have to go to the Olympic trials in the US to go and get ready to prep himself for the Olympic Games when he ought to have been doing that today, because today was supposed to be the day that the Grenada Invitationals took place. All of us would have been in the Grenada National Stadium today. Today was the day that Karani was supposed to be running on the tracks in his stadium, the Karani James he owned, we give him Karani James Stadium. Today was supposed to be the day that he was running there. Today was supposed to be the day that Anderson Peters was here in Grenada at the Grenada National Stadium competing in a javelin. Yes, sharpening his technique for when he go and win that gold medal that he coming back with from the Olympic Games. Well, he doubted me. Anderson coming back with a gold medal. So how come, ask the CBI unit or IMA or whatever you're calling them right now, but the people that deal with citizenship by investment, by whatever name they call it, a rose is still a rose. Yeah, by whatever name you call it. Ask them, how come they were unable to fund the Grenada Invitational? They cannot say that the committee did not reach out to them for funding. They can't say that. If they say that, they will be lying. And there is documentary evidence that the Grenada Invitational Committee reached out to them, and somehow it seems as though the IMA or CBI, after earning the most money ever in last year that they broke. We didn't know where the money go, what they use the money for, but they broke so that they were unable to support the Grenada Invitational. Either unable, as in they broke, or unwilling, as in they bad mind. But whichever one it is, we need to know. Yeah? So don't try and drag Mr. Dexter Mitchell into it when he did what was necessary. Yeah? He did what was necessary. He approached the IMA, the CBI unit. He approached them. They refused to fund. Ask what happened with National Lottery Authority. And even worse, he had a commitment. And after you get a commitment from one branch of government, and you realize that last minute they drop it, you know who that end up with the bill in relation to the Grenada Invitational? The people who that end up with the bill would have been the people who are the directors of the Grenada Invitational, would have end up with possibly a multi-million-dollar bill for the Grenada Invitational because you weren't sure that you would get any money from government. The Grenada 50th Anniversary Celebrations Committee promised close to $40,000 or probably a little over that to pay for the flights of all the Olympians who represented Grenada in the past to come back to Grenada to be honored. To be honored. Today, they were supposed to be here. Hazelland, Regis, all of these people. I know Hazelland came in and one or two others came in on their own. But they were supposed to be in Grenada to be honored at the Grenada Invitational. And then at the end of the week, you had these people coming out, not last week, week before, sorry, you had the same committee saying that, oh, they can't do it again. After there was a promise, and they can't say that they weren't part of it. The promotions of the Grenada Invitational had the logo for the 50th anniversary of independence. Outside of that, the chairperson and the person in charge, that's Dr. What's her name? And Miss Purcell, both of them were at the launch. Both of them were acknowledged as partners working with the Grenada Invitational. They withdrew their funding. They withdrew their funding and they expect the Grenada Invitational to go on unless sabotage it. That's what take place. Take me to court if I don't like what I'm saying. But unless sabotage the Grenada Invitational. It was sabotaged. Because you can't promise that they would get that amount of money. And when the time comes to give them the money for them to be able to do, you can't just tell an airline you want tickets. You have to pay for it. You have to pay. You can't just tell the hotel that, hey, reserve those rooms for me. You have to pay. So what ended up happening was that they withdrew their funding. And then you're waiting to hear from government. And the first time you get anything, and it was a text message after 10, the same night that they decided, from the permanent secretary, the same night that they decided they're not going to be having the Grenada Invitational, that is when these individuals decided that, hey, we send a message, hey, your financing been approved. What happened all the couple weeks before? Since you all claim that went to cabinet in April, late part of April, what took place between that space of time and when the announcement was made? The Grenada Invitational Committee was trying to meet the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister was not willing to meet with the Grenada Invitational Committee. So, Mr. Jonathan Lacrette, when you're trying to drag other people down, go and ask Mr. Deacon Mitchell, not Mr. Dexter Mitchell, why the Grenada Invitational didn't happen. You have the Minister of Mobilization out there, all of them in defense mode right now. You all should have been in defense mode to defend the Grenada Invitational and make sure it happened. Not defense mode to try and defend your political party. But you should have been in defense mode to defend the Grenada Invitational, to make sure that the financing was available. It's one thing for the committee to go out there and approach corporate Grenada and say to corporate Grenada, we need assistance. If you all can give 50,000 or 100,000 or so on. It's one thing to do that. But outside of that, if you have the government backing and openly out there saying, hey, we're supporting this thing, we need you all to get on board, that would have helped. But again, there's a certain level of don't care, not concern when it comes to this administration. So you have Mr. Lacrette going into the parliament today and making a fool of himself. Well, he accustomed doing that. Diary of a Mad Black Man. But anyway, so he went into the parliament today and he makes a statement that he was trying to get in contact with Mr. Mitchell. Now we are trying to get in contact with Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Lacrette. Now is when you're trying to get in contact with him. So you, as Minister of Sport, were unaware of what was taking place with the Grenada Invitational. Let me confirm something here. As I said, I was a representative on the local organizing committee in the past. Under this administration, they were offered the opportunity to have an individual on the local organizing committee. That individual then would have been able to report back to government, these are the decisions taken, this is what is happening, etc., etc. When asked that question today by Senator Nolan Cox, who happened to have been Minister of Sports for the 2018 and 2019 iteration of the Grenada Invitationals. Senator the Honorable Nolan Cox was the Minister of Sports at that point in time for the two iterations of it. Now, when that has taken place, and he was able to say, look, we had representative on the body. We had a representative there that was able to feed back to government, hey, this is what taking place, that is what taking place, and so they need this, they need that, the other. So what happened this time around? Folks, the government of Grenada, contrary to what Senator Jonathan Gayton Lacrette said in the parliament today, the government of Grenada never sent any representative onto the local organizing committee. Stop lying. You're supposed to be a man of God. Let's stop that. Stop lying. They did not send any representative onto the local organizing committee. The coordinator of sport was not there as a representative of the government of Grenada. In fact, the coordinator of sport, the present coordinator of sport, has been involved, I think, from day one as one of the people helping with the Grenada Invitational, but he was not government's representative there. Up to this day, no response after being invited to send a representative to sit on the local organizing committee of the Grenada Invitational. Up to this day, no response was ever received by the Grenada Invitational. Up to this day, today's what? The 6th day of the 6th month? Up to this day, no response was ever given to the invitational by the government of Grenada that stated this is our representative or that person is our representative, and therefore you can use them as a conduit to let us know what is taking place. That never happened. So when he stands in the parliament and he makes a statement, when questioned by Senator Cox, when he stands in the parliament and he makes that statement, Senator Lacrette, I, Sheldon Scott, with no middle name, telling you straight, you lie. You lie. Government has never responded. Show the correspondence. I'm challenging you. Show the correspondence that says this person has been appointed as government's representative onto the local organizing committee of the Grenada Invitational. I am sure that the Grenada Invitational could show their correspondence to you all asking for a representative. No representative was sent either verbally or otherwise. And I'm not excusing the fact that you're only in the ministry for a few months now. If you're going to talk on the issue, know what you're saying. So this individual comes now and says, hey, we can't tell you about the Grenada Invitational because I need to. So where's the use to stand up and talk about it then? Just say I will reserve comment on this issue until a later point in time. But you see, you all want to try and throw people under the bus. So since you're trying to throw the Grenada Invitational, and in particular, Mr. Dexter Mitchell, under the bus, that is why you all took that approach to the entire thing. So Andy go in one direction and Grenada Invitational this and government had the money there for them and all kind of thing. That is one direction. But we know not to trust what he say already anyhow. Because right now we were supposed to be driving through Molyneux because it was supposed to be finished in January, according to what he said. So we know not to trust his words. Right? So when it comes to what Mr. Lacrette said today, folks, Mr. Lacrette lied. The Grenada Invitational had no body from the government of Grenada as a representative from the government of Grenada. The individual who he referred to as the coordinator of sport was not there as government representative. There is no documentation of that individual being there as government's representative. The government of Grenada never responded to the Grenada Invitational when they asked for a representative to be on the local organizing committee. These people need to stop lying. I was listening again. There's another issue there. I was listening to the MP for St. John, Honorable Karine James. I was listening to her recently. Was it yesterday? Yes. And she was speaking about various things. She was speaking about, I'll come back to Grenada Invitational. I forget it, but I just want to show you how these people line. She was speaking about renewable energy in her capacity as the minister with responsibility for these things. She was speaking about renewable energy. And while speaking about renewable energy, she was speaking about the fact that they are going to start exploration into the area of geothermal energy and to try and see if Grenada has the possibility to do any geothermal energy. Something had to be wrong with her, because I can't understand how he is the minister and you don't know that there is already a document that is there on geothermal energy in Grenada. You know how I know? Back in 2014, I believe it was. I was still part of government at that time. Back in 2014, there was a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. I believe it took place in Australia. Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell attended that Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. And I could tell you at that Heads of Government meeting, remember, that's 2014. That's just less than a year, actually, after the victory in 2013, where you won all the parliamentary seats. So here it is, you're going and sit between all these other people who are also in the Westminster system of government and they are in awe that Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell and his new National Party was able to win all 15 seats in a general election. They were in awe. So the then Prime Minister of New Zealand approached Dr. Mitchell, and in conversations, he said to Dr. Mitchell, he said, before you leave and go back to Grenada, I'm inviting you, because Dr. Mitchell spoke about renewable energy and that sort of thing and the importance of that to small island states. So he said to him, I would like you to come to New Zealand to view our geothermal energy plants. And after that, we would speak further on that issue. So in the year 20, and I'm just trying to pull up, where's that document? Okay, it's not on this machine, it's on the other machine. So in the year 2015, between 2014 and 2015, some money was provided by the government of New Zealand for a geothermal mapping program to take place in Grenada. It was a very extensive document that has been produced. It took me literally 3 minutes to find that document online, because I remember seeing the document myself, being part of government at the time. I remember seeing that document myself that spoke to the possibilities for geothermal energy in Grenada. Now, some of you may be wondering the meeting, Dr. Mitchell was called to New Zealand. So from Australia, he went over to New Zealand. So that document speaks to, in fact, it speaks about Mount St. Catherine and the fact that there are geothermal sources at the base and areas close to Mount St. Catherine. It gives the history of Mount St. Catherine in the geological terms, as in what type of, because Mount St. Catherine is a volcano. It's an extinct volcano, but it's still a volcano. It spoke to the sulfur emissions at different points, some in private lands and so on, that these people had to map and so on. It also gave an extensive overview. They focused a lot on Mount St. Catherine, but they also spoke about other areas and the type of things that exist in other areas, and strange enough, areas like Mount Granby, Granitang, and all these areas. And so they gave quite a bit of information about the geothermal possibilities for Grenada and what percentage of Grenada's electricity could be produced using geothermal energy. Right? I remember that clearly. And I have the document. Again, we can't pull up documents to show you, but I have the documents in relation to that. On Monday night, I will ensure that you all see that document in relation to geothermal energy. So when they come trying to give you the impression that nothing was done in relation to geothermal energy and Grenada, and that they now have to come and find the funding, there were at least 4 scientists, and at least 3 out of those came out of New Zealand, because it was funded by the government of New Zealand. Grenada didn't have to pay anything. It was funded by the government of New Zealand with an aim that over a period of time, Grenada would be able to use geothermal energy. You wouldn't have enough to be able to supply all of the electricity needs for Grenada, but that put together with solar power. Yes, so you have solar power and you have geothermal, that you would be able to supply a significant portion, if not nearly 100%, through those 2 sources of the energy needs of Grenada. You could not have moved forward past the stage of checking to see what is there. You couldn't go very much past that until you got the issue with Grenlec sorted out, because Grenlec, remember, according to the legislation, according to the law that was passed in 1994 by a former NDC administration, the only company, the only organization that could have produced electricity within the state of Grenada was Grenlec, and they were owned by WRB. So that is the only company that was allowed to produce electricity in the state of Grenada. Yeah? So when they try to give the impression that nothing was done in relation to that, I hear the minister speaking about the solar plant in Carriacou and how she had to come to make sure that the solar plant was in, everything was in place for the solar plant. There's a timeline in which these things happen. There's an order in which these things happen. And that was set up so that the solar plant could be done in Carriacou. That had nothing to do with you. That was done in spite of you and not because of you. But you see, they so have to try to claim things. They so have to try to give the impression that they're doing things. Now we're here, they're going with the Empower Batch 4. So we're hearing that about a month now that they're going with Batch 4 with the Empower program. Bravo. Just make sure you all do the thing properly. But they give a start date. They say they're going with the Empower at that date, but then they're coming to MPs and say, try and find some of the young people that should be involved in the Empower program. But you all say that you're starting it, so why now you're looking to try and find people to go in a program that you already said that you all are going to do? Something, well, one of we have to be crazy. So the lies, that's what we can't take. The lying thing, we can't take it. And the bad thing about this is they are lying about things that we have information on. So when the Minister of Climate Resilience go and she lying about geothermal, trying to give the impression that, okay, this is the first time Grenada talking about geothermal energy and that kind of thing. You have to wonder, these people, well, so you have to wonder. Like, we just have to give the different possibilities here. One is that they actually don't know, which means that they're really incompetent. If it's the minister in that portfolio and they don't know that there's already a document that exists in relation to geothermal energy production in the state of Grenada, and that study was funded by the government of New Zealand and exists, you could just take it and run with it. That thing was so extensive. It spoke of the type of rock formations that we have in the south of the island as opposed to in the area around Mount St. Catherine, the north of the island. It spoke of the reasoning for the hot springs and so in St. Patrick and different areas. It spoke to some areas in St. Mark where there was a possibility of geothermal being used in those areas. It was extensive. It spoke to where it are fault lines in Grenada, because sometimes we say land slipping and land moving, and so there's an area in St. John where you see the land slipping and the land, there are fault lines that actually run along the surface of the earth in those areas that are causing what is taking place with road and with the land, and so in general in those areas. There are fault lines. So when people give the impression that nothing was done in relation to these things before, We could pull the documents and show them. And I'm just sorry because some people are asking what's up with the background. Don't worry, the background will come back on Monday night. So some people are asking, well, where are the documents? And I can produce the document. I'll do it on Monday because it took me exactly 3 minutes by the time I just type in that. And then a set of responses come up and I was able to just pull the document, whole PDF document down. So I have in my possession the document in relation to geothermal energy production for the state of Grenada. So when they give the impression that that was something new that they come in with, you see, they're grasping at straws so much because they're going now to the 1 year. They have to be able to say something when they're going around the island. They have to be able to say something. You go in and tell people the same thing that you say in the first year. We restore pension, which is a lie. You didn't restore any pension. You had nothing to do with that. What? You went and signed some document and restore pension. The court order restore pension. What they are trying to do now is remove what the court order restore. So now we're speaking about the 1958 pension, but they recognize that if you have to pay all the people who are presently under the public service in a number of years, when these people start to retire, if you have to pay them under the calculation for the 1958 pension, you might bankrupt the country. Because if you have to pay these thousands of workers a few years from now, how much years from now when they retired, that there's going to be a problem, there's going to be a drain on the economy of Grenada. Under the New National Party, we were saying that these people just say, pay the pension, pay the pension. Said, no, there can be issues in the future. So you have to speak about how you are going to reform pension. That you cannot use a 1958 calculation at a point in time when you did not have 1,000 people were not under the public service of Grenada at that time in 1958. You had way less than that. How much police officers you think they had in the island in 1958? How many teachers? There were very few secondary schools. So how many teachers you think they had? How many public servants in general you think they had? Not much. It was under 1,000. Now you're speaking into the thousands. And especially where they're speaking about regularizing, although they're speaking about regularizing and contract, but they're coming to tell all you in the town hall meeting that they're regularizing. They're coming to tell you all that they're regularizing. So when they're coming to tell you all about the regularizing, there are other things that are attached to the regularizing. Yes, people going to get pension, but at what calculation? That is why they're saying now they want a contributory pension because the 1958 pension is non-contributory. In other words, you work within the public service, you leave the public service, but you have never paid 1 cent, 50 cents, or 10 cents out of your salary into the pension that you're going to receive. That is one of the reasons that they did the NIS, which is a contributory pension, where you, out of your salary every month, you contribute and the employer contributes towards what you get, because they say people were getting no pay. That is not true. What you were getting from the NIS, as small as it was a pension and remains a pension. Yeah? But the amount, we know that people had problems surviving on that. So that is why you try to see how you could extend that as much as possible. So you have the pension payments that government now will have to make. In addition to people receiving their NIS, you've been paying NIS, so you have to get your NIS payments, plus now they have to get the government pension, which they didn't pay anything into. So the government of Grenada, which might, let's say 20 years from now, that they are maintaining 2,000 people under the pension plan, and they have another 4,000 or 5,000 people that are working within the system. So they want to make it a contributory pension. But they weren't saying that during the election time. Yeah. Thank you, David, for putting it up so other folks can see it. Let me just let me just show it here. Yeah, I don't know why they probably, as it's a link, I realized it would. If you check there, you'd see that David Lancos has put up the geothermal surface exploration document, and I'm sure that took you just a couple minutes to find. Yeah. So that document is there. Let me see if it could open on this one here. I hope it can. I think you need to share the file from the link. I think what you're sharing there is from your computer, so it won't open, right? So you have that situation. Derek, behave. Yeah, you have that situation where these individuals continue to lie to us on different issues. So if they're lying on Grenada Invitational, they're lying on geothermal energy. And when people like me listen and we hear these people, it's annoying because some of this stuff is going into the permanent record in the Parliament of Grenada. 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 300 years from now, when people are going over those records, those false statements will be there. Those false statements would be there. Another thing I heard today, I heard the Minister of Education coming out vehemently and stating that the Judas Jude line. Well, Minister, I don't know. Maybe Judas want to run in your seat, you know. Well, we hear you don't want to run. You're afraid to go back and get Alexa Emlyn Gay the last time because you know you will get another set again. But still, Crystal, good night, bro. But still, because I heard him today in the Parliament, and that's why I say it's important we listen to the Parliament sittings. So even if we have to just post the Parliament over the weekend, we'll have to do something. It'll have to go up. You need to hear what was being said. So the minister said, basically, that, oh, when people talking about teachers crying with runny nose and this kind of thing, that they're lying. That is only 8 people that were not paid for various reasons because some of them came from a different part of government into teaching, and so you had to reconcile and all this sort of things. So he's claiming that the union leader is lying. That's what he's saying. Basically, that the union leader is lying. So I don't know who lying for who. Yeah, we don't know who lying for who. When the union leader, what he say? He say cold running down them teachers' nose. They crying for the money. The Minister of Education say he lie. He said that is not true and that is irresponsible statements that being made out there. Yeah? That is irresponsible statements. I'm just checking some of the comments in on between and I have to do it on the same machine. So he's saying that that's irresponsible statements being made out there by the union representative for the teachers. And the man was upset, you know. The man was upset. So imagine everybody going down on poor Judas Jude right now. Well, that's what is calling Judas Jude. So everybody going down on him right now. So from the other trade union, the Public Workers Union, because yeah, this man was calling for them people head, you know. He was calling for them people head. There's the issue of the principals that still have not received the promised increase. I don't know if they're going to receive it in the next fortnightly payment, but at the point in time of speaking, the trade union representative of the principals and so was saying that they did not receive the increases that were promised to them. But the minister come out today basically said that these things is lie. There's only 8 people that didn't receive their money and there are different reasons that they didn't receive their money and that sort of thing. So we have to ask, well, who talking the truth? But then the same trade union leader, remember, he's a cheerleader for the National Democratic Congress and Mr. Deacon Mitchell. Because every time he finds himself in front of a camera or a microphone, he has to be praising the Deacon Mitchell administration. Oh, and he come in and say all kind of things. This ain't happening, that ain't happening, this bad, that bad, and so. But when he finishes it, but the government is doing a good job. Teachers, that is the representative all you really want to have. Really and truly, that is the representative all you want to keep there. Man, joke all you make it with that. That is the representative all you want to keep. All right, okay. Yes, folks. So a special good night to each and every one of you once again. Yeah, Sheldon, I see you there as well. Erica Thomas, Public Notice, Tyrone, Edlin, Merle, Martin, Conrick. Yeah, all of you there. Yes, Conrick, yeah. Mount St. Catherine is a volcano. So is Granitang. Both of them are considered dormant. Yeah, but there is a lava well that goes up into Mount St. Catherine. And around Mount St. Catherine and to the base of Mount St. Catherine, there are different areas where you have hot springs and those sort of things. And all of that comes out from the fact that Mount St. Catherine is a dormant volcano. Yeah? There are other locations in Grenada, in St. David, in St. Patrick, and so on, You may not know some of them because some of them in deep bush, but these people came and they did an extensive mapping. I remember in particular, there is one area that they were looking for where there was supposed to be gassing. In other words, that there was supposed to be gas coming out of the ground. There was a report in relation to that at some part of Mount St. Catherine from a survey that was done in the year 1999. And they referred to that survey and that they were looking for that area and they were unable to locate that area. That's to tell you how extensive the report in relation to that was done. But these individuals trying to give you the impression, they're trying to tell you all that, hey, nothing was done, man. Nothing was done. You know, I want right now one of you to attempt something for me. I'm not sure if it's going to work. We're going to try and see if it does work. I would like one of you to call me on the WhatsApp. Yeah, I would like one of you to call me on the WhatsApp 440-7377 via WhatsApp 440-7377. So I'd like one of you to give me a call right now on the WhatsApp because I want to see if we are able at all. Let me see if I can place this here and place that one there. Nice. Yeah. So let's see if we'll be able to get the WhatsApp calls to work at all so that we'll be able to take your WhatsApp call. So someone give me a call on the WhatsApp. And listen, the Grenada Invitational, an organization that has been around. And why did I miss that? Yeah, this person tried to call me. Why I missed the call? Hey, behave yourself, nothing. You have to work with me here. So somebody did try calling, but for some reason, yeah, and they try again. And it's been, yeah, what's up, behave yourself now, man, let it call through now. But what do this thing? Folks trying to get the call, but let me see, yeah. About 3 different people calling me, 4 different people calling me there now. And it keeps, the system is silencing the calls. So apparently we won't be able to take the calls still, yeah. It's silencing the calls. So thank you all for trying for me, but it's silencing the calls. For some reason, the system, you know, these systems protect you if you're doing a live and that sort of thing. But I set it in a way that it would take it, but it's still not taking the calls. So folks, we have to be careful with these individuals because they are saying things that are obviously not true. To the unsuspecting minds out there, they may believe that these people know what they're talking about and they're being truthful, and it's not the case. It is not the case. Let me give the example I was about to make when I asked about for the phone calls there. And folks, it doesn't seem as the calls would come through, so we'll have to forget that one. That space at time 20 calls they are ready. We want you. Folks, we have to forget it ain't coming true. But I'll tell you this, Now, the Grenada Invitational has been around. You had it in 2017, you had it in 2018, you had it in 2019. It had to be postponed in 2020 due to COVID, the worldly lockdown. 2021, COVID restrictions still in place, people wasn't traveling. 2022, the world now start to open out. 2023, it was supposed to take place in Grenada. There was a promise by the Cabinet of Grenada and the Ministry of Sports that the athletic track, which was damaged at the Grenada Athletic Stadium, the Kirani James Athletic Stadium, there was a promise by the government of Grenada that that track would be fixed. The promise was not kept. So the Grenada Invitational had to postpone to 2024. Yeah? 2024, Grenada Invitational comes. A company that exists for several years now, that have held successful meets that brought millions of viewers to Grenada and significant income into the economy of Grenada. You know that is taking place. You say, okay, we're giving you all $350,000. Although the only time you sent anything to say that that has been approved is after they say, well, we can't stage the games because we don't have the money to do it. That take place. Meanwhile, you have nation builders who before that company could even be registered were given $500,000 by the same cabinet. So don't try to make it look as though you all are not playing favorites here. You all have people going on programs and saying that no money was given by the government of Grenada. but $500,000 was given to nation builders by the cabinet of Grenada before Nation Builders was properly registered as an organization in Grenada. Yet still the Grenada Invitational that has been here for over 6 years. The 3 years that they had the games, well, they could count even more than that and say 7 because they were in operation for a full year before that. Then the 3 years after. So we're going on 8 years actually, that the Grenada Invitational has been around. You know the games. You know the importance of the games. You know what the game does for the industry here in Grenada, for the sporting industry and so on, for the young people and everybody that takes part in this thing here in Grenada. You know that. And even though they know that, these individuals still say 350,000. You think that's a run of games? That could run a games? Or was the intention that the game should never really take place? Because the new National Party at one point in time was 2 million in cash and kind to run the games. Then there's this constant statement that I hear the NDC people out there making that, oh, they thief a lot of money in the Grenada Invitational. That is not true. That all they like to call people thief. But all they must call the person who they're calling, they call his name on a public forum and say he's a thief. Because I know for a fact, again, I was on the LOC, that there has been audited statements for the Grenada Invitational as how the money was spent. And if you have a problem with how somebody spend money, for instance, you have a problem with how Grenada Invitational spend money, you don't have to take the money and put it in Grenada Invitational account, you know. Once you send a document to them and say that, hey, this is the amount of money that we're giving to you all, and Grenada Invitational send the invoices to you, and as government of Grenada, you make the payments on behalf of the Grenada Invitational. If you don't trust and say, well, okay, we don't trust these people, we're not going to give them money, then you didn't have to give them money in their hand. If you're giving somebody money to pay something and you don't trust that person to go and pay it, then what you have to do, you get a bill from the person and you go and pay it for yourself. Somebody come, so sometimes they see it in town, people come and they say, well, okay, somebody might approach you and say, boss, I don't eat anything for the day and I'm hungry. And you look at the person and you have your suspicions, so you say, I ain't giving them that money, you know. If I give them that money, they might go around the block and next thing they're doing something wrong with the money. Come, let's go and buy something for you to eat. And you bring the person and you ask them what they want to eat and you buy something for them to eat. If you don't trust the person, then that is the approach. So if government has no excuse here, if you don't trust the Grenada Invitational or the individuals in the Grenada Invitational, all you had to say is this: when you bring the invoices, we will make our payments directly to the vendors who are being supplied. So whether it was the people who supplying the starting equipment for the track, and that's a discussion we have to have. Yeah, there's a lot of discussions I keep putting back, but we have to have them for the start because I was involved in certain things, so I want to talk about it too. So when it comes to the starting machine for the track, I think that was 14,000. Yeah, from the same people that used the one that the Grenada Invitational had and destroyed. Then come back and ask for $14,000 to use theirs when they was using and destroyed the one the Grenada Invitational had that they didn't have to pay anything for. But that's another story for another time. Then you have all of the other service providers, the people who provide the taxi services and the buses and so on, that would bring the athletes to and from the airport to the hotel to the stadium and back and forth, and who want to go and do tours and different things like that. You have all the hotels that would, if the games had taken place, they'd have made money off of that. You have various other vendors that would have made money off of that. Yeah, and plus Grenada on a whole, because ESPN would not just pick up any and any games anywhere. It was because of the high standard of Grenada's games that they picked it up. So they would have been able to broadcast to millions of people around the world, especially as you're hyping up towards Olympics now. This is taking place in Grenada, and this is what Grenada looks like. You need to visit Grenada when you get a chance. So we lost out on all of that. So while they fine 500,000, and one of these days I wish one of them would go on a forum and say a lie. I wish one of them would say that a line about that $500,000 that they gave to nation builders. who is supposed to be a non-governmental organization, but is doing governmental work. So these people need to be delisted as non-governmental organizations. They got $500,000 from the government of Grenada, not through grant financing through some organization or so, but they got that from the government of Grenada. And as we're speaking financing, again, April Fletcher behave. Yeah. And again, when it comes to the issue of financing, we have to ask ourselves, what really is the Grenada Development Bank? Because today, again, are getting calls from people. They want to know what they could do because they are approaching the Grenada Development Bank in relation to agricultural projects, in relation to fishing projects, those kind of things. They didn't approach the Grenada Development Bank and say, I want to build a multi-million-dollar house, They didn't approach the Grenada Development Bank and say, I want to buy a how much $100,000 fancy vehicle. They didn't approach the Grenada Development Bank and say, hey, I have a business here and I want $2 million. They didn't approach them and say that. These are people that go and say, I need a $5,000. I am doing this particular type of farming and so on. I'm into animal husbandry. I'm into this area. I'm into that area and I need financing. So can you all help me get to the point where my business can take off? I could provide a proper service to the people and then I could make back the money, not only to pay you all, but to build and expand my business. The Grenada Development Bank turning down all these people, but government ministers walking out with $1 million. So you're telling me that people who are working in Grenada and working hard and going to the Grenada Development Bank, instead of developing, the only thing it's developing is high blood pressure for people. And it have it banking up on a lot of people. That is what the GDP doing. But then again, who is the chairperson of the board of the Grenada Development Bank? None other than the treasurer of the NDC. None other than the treasurer of the NDC. So when government ministers want to get big money, they could go there and get big money. Even though the law from since the GDB was the Grenada Agricultural Bank, the law states clearly that no one who is a government minister is supposed to go there and get any sort of money. Go in the commercial banks or the credit union. Go there and get your money, but you're not supposed to get any money out of the GDB. Not just them, but their brothers and sisters, their mother or their father, their uncles or their aunts, their children, close family members are not supposed to get money out of the Grenada Development Bank as well. But not just them, none of the people who are on the board of directors, the same goes to them. They or their close family members also are not allowed to access funding from the Grenada Development Bank. You understand? They are not supposed to be able to get anything from the Grenada Development Bank. So when you have that situation taking place, when you have those problems taking place, and the small man is going and trying to get funding out of the Grenada Development Bank, and other people cannot go, the small man ain't getting money, but the government ministers could go and get the financing out of the Grenada Development Bank. Easy to. Easy to go in and they're getting all the money that they need out of the Grenada Development Bank. So we have to ask ourselves, why? Is it that they don't care about farming? We coming out of a serious dry season. You're looking at parts of Grenada, brong. So you know that agricultural production is down. That farmers who may not have a significant amount of savings, they may not have that inside there. You have a problem. They have a problem. How are these farmers going to be able to buy the planting material, the fertilizer for those that use fertilizer? I don't agree with the fertilizer thing. Natural fertilizer. I ain't to agree with these other fertilizers and so, but some farmers do what they have to do. Or to get the irrigation system in place so that one, they may be able to store rainwater or make an area that they can store water and so that in case you end up in a situation like we've been in for the last couple months that they have enough water or access to a well or access to a ravine or a river where they can get water to be able to keep their crops. The GDP ain't offering that to them. The GDP giving people multi-million-dollar loan for house, multi-million loan for failing businesses. And they ain't given to the failing businesses for the medium and small man, and so they that need a little help and might be able to hire another person to work with them or two people to work with them. Instead of that, they are giving the money to their friends. That's what they're doing. People can't get, you want to go into fishing. Fishing is a multi-million-dollar industry. Multi-million-dollar industry for the state of Grenada. You think tuna boat doesn't make money and think that does make money? No, that fishermen, that does make money. Money management might be an issue, but they make money. They make money. And I'm just looking for one of the items I'm supposed to have here next year. They make money. But the problem has been how they manage the money. Yeah, people talking about the blue economy and this and that and so on. Yes, okay, fishermen go out there. What is being put in place for the safety and security of fishermen? We had some young men go missing from St. Andrew a couple months ago, and we've never heard anything about it again. Every year, we have young people, elder people, fishermen who've been fishing for many years, going out to the water to go and get fish and never coming back. What are we doing now? What are we doing now to ensure that this situation is a situation that in 2024 and maybe after 2024, yeah, that we don't see that sort of thing happening again? What is being done? You have how much people, brother and sister and the father, go out in the water and never come back? We're just going to continue to lay it up and say, well, God doing the work? No. We have to do what is necessary to try and deal with that issue. I have my ideas what could be done. We ain't going to say it here now, but I have my ideas what could be done to address situations like that. So we have quite a lot of work that need to be done. Quite a lot of work that need to be done in areas like that. But this government is incompetent and incapable. They can't do it. Because they're more focused when it comes to the blue economy to go to a meeting somewhere in Europe or somewhere in North America or Central America or wherever, or Asia, to boast that I went to a meeting here. I'm sure some of them had to change passport already because they run out of page. Because they're always out. What have they brought back? And don't dare ask our dear beloved ministers why all was out, you know. You're too fast. Who is you to ask that question? Mr. Know your place, that kind of thing. Go in the registry and ask. You cannot go in the registry and ask for this kind of documentation. We are commoners. We can't go there and ask where they lie again. They cannot give you that. They lie when the minister from St. John says that every time they travel, they give you a list of all. That's a lie. It is a lie. It's only when pictures come out and you realize people start to talk, they just admit that this person was at meeting and that person was at meeting, even though the person is not even in their ministry. They're in another ministry, but every time the minister for St. John travel, you have to have certain individuals traveling with her. They always find themselves on the same trip for some reason. Yeah, and it's not only find themselves on trip, you know. Imagine they're on board of directors of one of the boards that are under the same minister. In other words, the Minister of Responsibility for Climate Resilience. There is the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority. Find out who on the board for the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority and see if one of the persons ain't living in the same house with her, who is on the board of directors of the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority. But they ain't going to tell you that. They're afraid that those bits and pieces of information come out. Yeah? They're afraid. We are commoners, you know. We can't go and ask for them kind of information there. Me as a commoner, I can't go and ask for that. There's problems. Yeah, we can't go and ask for them thing there. So, folks, this is the situation that we find ourselves in the state of Grenada right now. We have a government that you always have to fact check everything that they say. Everything. They're in parliament, you have to fact check what they say. They go on radio or television, you have to fact check what they say. They're speaking in public forums, you have to fact check what they say. Because now is the 6th day of June 2024, and let's ask the Prime Minister, how many people now live in those houses that it was wicked of the NNP not to let people go into? Before election, it was 6 and 7 days before election. And the new National Party, in your words, Mr. Mitchell, was supposed to be wicked and evil and vindictive and, wicked because you had the houses built and you just had security guard in it. Well, what did they do? They come and they get rid of the security. They hire their own security. This party supporters, the people and things. They hire their own security and so to guard the place. All right, okay, well, you bring your supporters, you get them a blight. The human beings and the Grenadians too, they get a job, all well and good. Right? But how many people living in those places now? Anybody message me. How many are the people living in those places? How many of the people are up there in La Sagesse now, in the housing project up there? How many Grenadians are living there? How many Grenadians are getting the opportunity to own one of those houses? You have people that the bank approved, the one or two that was lucky that the bank approved, and up to now, they can't get the apartment. We are at the 6th day of June. The Marketing and National Importing Board. Where is it? Where's the new Marketing and National Importing Board, by whatever name? Because again, remember, this government likes to deal with changing names. So don't be surprised you hear they change the name of Empower. Don't be surprised you hear they come with a new youth program, and when you check it out, you realize, but wait, all they do is they scratch out the name Imani and they put a new name for it. Because that's what they do. Yeah? And then you check yourself and you say, well, what has these people done since they came in? And you say, well, no, what they do? They fire people. Let me see. The Commissioner of Police. I mentioned it last night. Let me see if we can add to it. The Commissioner of Police, gone. They get rid of them. The manager of Nawasa, gone. I believe the manager of Grenlec, gone. Labor Commissioner Mr. Cyrus Griffith, respected throughout the Caribbean, years of institutional knowledge and so on. They get rid of he too. They brought in another Labor Commissioner, and next thing you know, cat fight within the ministry between that minister with responsibility for labor and the former Labor Commissioner, and next thing you know, when I say cat fight, verbal, and they're gone. Yeah, so they get rid of the Labor Commissioner, Mr. Cyrus Griffith. And if you're speaking to anybody from Suriname, go right up the road to Alaska, people know Mr. Cyrus Griffith. Socks. They know him. And he did an excellent job over the years. Institutional knowledge. They couldn't wait to get rid of him as soon as they come in. Just get rid of him. Yeah? The manager of the Grenada National Stadium. They maybe find that the lady is an NNP or something. They get rid of she. They get rid of her. And nearly every single department you could look at, they've gotten rid of different people. And then you hear that they offer in gracious packages to people right now to exit the public service. But if I was one of those people, I'd take them to court for harassment. I would have taken the public service and I would win. I would take the Public Service Commission to court for harassment. Leave me, let me do my work. I'm not breaking any of the rules. You're talking about public servants posting to the internet. All you're seeing with some of these people that be posting under people like my program. All you see what it does be posting under some of your all own program. All you see what it does be posting under GBN on a nightly basis. I see Nurse Joseph kind of back off. I know she back off. I just don't see what she's saying. Yes, I'm always calling him. Me and Fredio. Yeah? Me and Fredio. I'm afraid none of them. So all of them who does be posting all the nastiness, but they sit down working in government ministry. None of them ain't getting called along to Public Service Commission when they're saying the nastiness about people. None of them. But as soon as you perceive somebody to be a supporter of the new National Party, and they even seen under one of these things, you all go and you start to attack them. You all sending letters to them. You all calling them into the Public Service Commission to come in and we talk with you all. That's the sort of nonsense that we see going on. So there are one set of rules for people who are within the public service who are considered to be NDC supporters, and there's a totally different, unfair, and unmeasured set of rules for people who are considered to be supporters of the new National Party when it comes to the Public Service Commission, because they ain't calling the people from the other side. They're only calling in the people from the new National Party. The Public Service Commission cannot say that it's calling one individual under the public service who has been posting negative things, attacking the new National Party, the opposition, or people in the opposition. Not one. But let somebody only put up a post or say something under a post of the NNP, positive towards the NNP, or saying the government need to do better. They find themselves in front of the Public Service Commission because we're living in an atmosphere of victimization. A serious atmosphere of victimization. That's what Grenadians are living in. So Grenadians have to worry about the increase in food prices, the inflationary rate. They have to worry about gun crime, and they have to worry about victimization. Because woe be unto you if you have a child working within the public service and they realize that you talking positive of the new National Party, they're watching your child cut eye. And then they're trying to see if they're on contract. We, papa, they're renewing contract. Or when they're making people permanent, they're making them permanent. They're making others permanent and make yours sit down there. They weaponize all these sort of things. And you know, one of the things I have to ask, after ask round, there is a position called the ombudsman. The ombudsman is supposed to be a person that when citizens like yourself, myself, have a complaint with something that's going on in government, and we need to get some furtherance in relation to it. For instance, if you are trying to get something, let's say through the Ministry of Infrastructure and Works, and you are trying to push a document through there and you keep meeting stumbling blocks, that the Office of the Ombudsman acts as a facilitator to get that done for you. That if somebody in government is refusing to do something that they should be doing, if there's a problem with some aspect of how government is functioning and you are being unfairly treated, the Ombudsman's office is the office that you or I or any one of us should be able to go to, and the Ombudsman can intercede on our behalf. Right now, I don't even know if we have an ombudsman. Right now, I don't even know if we have one. And I doesn't hear nothing about ombudsman office and so on. At least under the new National Party, you had various people who held that office. I know deceased, deceased Miss Nadeka McIntyre was at the ombudsman office at a point in time. I think Mr. Ray Donald, was it? Was it Ray Donald or the other gentleman? One of them were there at a different time as well as the ombudsman. So there are various people, and it's usually people who have spent a significant number of years within the public service, and therefore they know the public service operates, so they would be able, and they have different powers that they would be able to intercede on your behalf. So some of you might be the first time that you're hearing of Ombudsman's office. That might be the first time you're hearing about it. But if you're having problems with a different government department, the Ombudsman's office is supposed to be able to facilitate you and to assist you to get what you have to be done. Right? But you don't hear anything about Ombudsman office again right now. They closed down on that. You're hearing nothing. Because everybody afraid. Well, not everybody, because I ain't afraid, and those of you posting under here, you ain't afraid. But a significant portion of the Grenadian population is afraid. Policemen afraid to be seen within 6 feet of me in town. Imagine one individual comes to me, not a police, but an individual that's be around town. Me and him sit down one day and we had a drink. You have government ministers approaching him and say, well, what going on with you? We see a line with Sheldon Scott. What? I have leprosy here. Do I have leprosy? Who the hell is you to go and ask somebody how they could be sit down drinking with me? You know if the person is my relative? You know how much family members I have in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, how much family members I have on mainland. You think I'm a Trinidadian? If you think I'm a Trinidadian, try and deport me and see what will happen. All they're doing like if something, I don't know why they're so frightened. So an individual sit down with me and have a drink. And not one, you know, 2 government ministers and a political activist approach them in a function how Wale could sit down there drinking with Sheldon Scott. So what? What happened? Sheldon Scott had leprosy? COVID? Is the year 2020 and COVID? People are afraid. But I can't understand the mentality of these individuals. Yeah, early. Well, you see it. I want to know. Because something definitely has to be wrong with that mindset that two government ministers and a political activist could feel that it is okay to approach an individual because the individual sit down and speaking with me. And then asking the individual, well, realize like you're switching on us, so what you want? That is the approach. Bribery. That is the approach, ministers. Come on, man. Come on. People who work in the public service, I stand up in town speaking to a young lady. Myself and the young lady have been good friends for many, many years. Yeah, many, many years. I know that she had some issues with one of her children. I saw her in town and I stand up with the young lady. I said, well, how the children going? And so what is the situation with your child? Because I know the child had a medical issue and they just had an episode and so on. So knowing that, because you see the things passing through social media, so you pick up sometime and you see the person and you say, hey, well, how your child going? This is what going on. You know what they said? You know what they said? When they got back to the office, by the time they got back to the office, that individual was removed from every WhatsApp group of that particular ministry. Every single WhatsApp group that they were in of the ministry. Before they could leave town and reach back into the ministry, by the time they reached back, they were kicked out of all the WhatsApp group because one of them passed and see them talking to me in town. Yeah? So they're trying to scare everybody. They want to live in an atmosphere of fear. That is what they're trying. But you don't know who is who relative, brother. They want to send me back. They tried that already. They tried that already. They must try it again. Let me quote the Constitution for them. They must try it again. Who they're supposed to send back, they ain't sending back. Try it. Try it. I dare them. Try it. I'll go find out. My children and my great-grandchildren will still be eating off of the funds when I finish sue all it. Try it. Send who back? Back to where? To Sandy Island? May want to send me to Hog Island? That would want to send me? But you understand what I'm speaking about here? That it has gotten so bad that if a public officer, anybody, any part of the public service, could be a police officer, could be a nurse, could be somebody working in the ministerial complex, you could be working in an outside department. Once you work within the government of Grenada and they see you stand up talking to Sheldon Scott, they're afraid. They're afraid. And most of these people is people that I've known. I worked in the government of Grenada before. I've met many people when you're doing Youth Pulse and all these things. Different ministries came in. So you had people from the Ministry of Health would come over. You had people from the Ministry of Agriculture would come over. You had people from all different ministries, social services, different things that you interact with. You working in the Ministry of Youth, and then there's a problem with a young person, and sometimes you have to get social services to deal with that. So you know the staff in social services. You know people throughout the ministerial complex and all the ministries. And these people are more than just people that you work along with. Many of them are your friends. But when you see them and you try to talk to them, they're trying to create this atmosphere of fear now that any of these people see you and they come to talk to you now, that by the time they reach back to the ministerial complex, we Papa Joe, they take them out of WhatsApp group. They ain't inviting them to any meeting again. If there were projects that they were dealing with, after a while they realize, they say, oh no, this person is going to deal with that project instead, and all that sort of thing. Competent and capable people who have been doing an excellent job. So how you are positioned within the public service now is not based on your ability to do the job. It's based on how much you could suck up to the present government. It is taking place. It is taking place. It has gotten to the stage that different MPs don't think this thing is just with me, you know. No, I just mentioned what take place with me. But Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis, if she walking in town and a civil servant stop to try and talk to her, by the time they reach back in the ministry, people watching them cut eye, minister passing, and they don't want to answer and say good morning or good evening. They're watching your cut eye. Honorable Emlyn Pierre, same thing. Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, well, you know. Honorable Clarice Modest, Honorable Peter David, or any of the former ministers, they see you as a civil servant talking to them. Like, it's like if they want people to treat those of us who were within the hierarchy of the NNP, they want people to treat us as though it's the year 2020. It is, let's say, April 2020, in the height of the COVID thing when everywhere locking down and people helter-skelter, and you have COVID. That's what they're trying to make it look like. Yes, Mongoose Gang bully kind of tactics. Because they want to know where you get it. Let me tell you something, NDC. It's not the NNPites all you have to look at for passing out information. All you better look at all your own people. Because some of them who don't like what all you're doing because they didn't work for that and they believe that the country don't deserve that. So when all you're thinking is NNPites don't have access to information in their ministry. All you made sure of that. Anybody that all you think is an NNPite, only want them nowhere near all your registry, nothing like that. Because all you're afraid that they take information and they share it out for the rest of us. The same set of people who were talking about a Freedom of Information Act, all you realize they're gone quiet on Freedom of Information Act right now. You all realize that they have nothing to say about you needing information, I needing information, and the people of Grenada being allowed to get information. Because if they had believed in Freedom of Information Act, when you go to Parliament and questions are asked, they would have answered the questions in the Parliament. But they ain't answering questions in Parliament. They're not doing it. But these are the same people that were speaking about, oh, it's important to engage with the media, yet still they stop the post-cabinet press briefings. Now, what they want to do, they want to go and do the mini rallies and call it town hall meetings. Yeah? They want to go and hold the mini rallies. That's why I say I'm not going, and I don't encourage nobody to go. If you're an NDC supporter, then it's your party. But I'm not telling anybody go in any other town hall. And you know, usually I don't get into that. I say people do it. I'm not encouraging anybody to go. Those things are NDC rallies. Remember the last couple of town halls, some of them come out, deck out in the yellow, you know, they come with the NDC cap. Not just yellow, they come with the NDC cap. They come with the NDC t-shirt. And down to the NDC handband as well. They make sure they went out there and some of them pick up the mic and talk. And that is because those things, they are telling you, they are signaling you, hey, this is not for all you. This is for we people to come and praise us. Because that's the intention, you know. Have these town hall meetings and then people are going to go there and praise them. And then they tap themselves on the back and they say, hey, we've done well. That is what they're going out there to do. They're not going out there to be challenged by people who will ask them questions. You could imagine they have a town hall and I walk inside, what's going on there? But if the police ain't put me out, something had happened. They're going to say that, oh, I'm creating a disturbance. Yeah? They're going to say he's creating a disturbance. That's what's going to take place. So me ain't going around the thing. They could have the thing that the business, they have a right to have it. I don't go in it. Yeah? I don't go in it. And exactly, Sky, I ain't going to hear the same liar hearing from them all the time. Well, we achieved a lot. And then they were grid. We restored the pension. Lie. The courts restored the pension, not you. We paid the pension. You didn't have a choice. What else they going to say? We will soon complete the Molyneux Road. The Molyneux Road should have been completed and being used already. You all are the ones who interfered with the design, tried to get rid of the contractor, ended up having to go back and get the same contractor that you all had removed, and then interfere with the plans that were there, causing the hillside to slip and now endangering the houses that are at the top. And therefore, you had to change the entire design. Not because the first design was bad, but because you all went and interfered with the design that was there. And it caused the entire thing to have to change now because you all are the experts, isn't it? So don't come and try to use, we're about to complete the Molyneux Road. And according to one of the MPs, you are not supposed to be talking about roads and things, because if you talk about if you talk about roads and things, then you're supposed to end up in a mental home, right? So one of the MPs say, I hope if there's a town hall in his neck of the woods and he talking in the town hall and he mentioned any road and thing, I hope they don't take him and bring him up in the, I hoping. Yeah? I hoping they don't end up in them kind of situation. So I ain't going in this thing. What they going to talk about? Free school feeding program and free tuition. There's no such thing as free when it comes to those things, because you're still paying taxes, so you're still the ones paying for it. If they say subsidized by the government of Grenada, no problem. But it's not free. They could take the word free out of that. There is no free school book program in the state of Grenada. There is no free school feeding program, and there's no free tuition program, because it's being paid by you and me anyhow you take it. It is our tax dollars that are being used to pay it. I don't have a problem with our tax dollars being used to pay it. Absolutely not. But it's our tax dollars being used to pay it. So we are paying. So since we are paying, including the parents of the same children, it is not free. If you want to say it's subsidized, it's subsidized. So they could go ahead and use that. What else are they going to tell us has been an achievement? Oh, they've gotten millions of dollars when it comes to the blue economy and climate change. According to them older people, show me the money. Imagine the only figure I was able to hear is a $40,000 grant from one of these agencies. And so under the new national, millions of dollars. That is how come Sister Clarice Modest and former Senator Simon Steele and the new National Party cabinet was able to put together and secure the rebuilding of Fort George. That is how they were able to secure the money to have that done. Going to different meetings and so on and negotiating. That is how they were able to get the air bridge being built for the airport, the expansion that's taking place down there. What has this government done that they could show? The bypass road down by the airport? That had nothing to do with the NDC government. All of that was part of the broader plan for the redevelopment of the Maurice Bishop International Airport. So again, show me the money. Show me what they did. Show me the money. What, destroy the police force? That is what they do. They destroy the police force. I don't have to go into extensive. You could listen to Master Carl in the morning. He might tell you about that one. But when it comes to the Royal Grenada Police Force, they have destroyed it. Thank God. Some of the men who stay inside there, like those CID officers and Superintendent Pierre and so on, these people, and I have a lot of respect for these guys. They are doing an excellent job in the most difficult circumstances. Let me repeat, I have a lot of respect for them because they are doing an excellent job in the most difficult of circumstances. You're telling me that we have an amnesty, folks? And I saw, now I know why Superintendent Pierre and the others didn't want to mention the amount of money, the amount of firearms and so that came in, because they said they are receiving firearms and so. But the report that I saw today, and I'm hoping that report is somebody that spoof a thing, man. 1 gun and 54 rounds of ammunition. 122 Taurus pistol, and that came in with 4 rounds of ammunition. They got 50 rounds of ammunition outside otherwise, and they got 2 shotgun shells. Those are what have been handed in so far for the amnesty that is taking place. And I'm saying we could have been way higher than that right now. If they had only set aside their foolish pride and listened to what the New National Party was saying and offered to make payments to people for information, set up a system where people can contact specific phone number or whatever it is, that they can do so, they can give their information, that information can then be used, and if you find the firearm, you find the ammunition or the rocket launcher, however they have, you never know, it maybe has some RPG-7 around still, but you find these things, then you can go now and you pay that person, whatever the figure is you give person, So the grandmother who been telling the young fella, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, don't bring that to me place. Yeah? So the 22 pistol that they get are just getting information. It ain't working. That's why the personality, it ain't working. Yeah. Oh, intelligence unit that bring it in. Well, anyway. What, Charlie, can I speak to Mr. Nimrod Olivier? You give all some assistance in relation to this thing. For free. The same way the Honorable Emlyn Pierre is willing to give you all help with youth programs for free. The Mr. Nimrod Olivier is willing to give you all assistance for free. All members of the New National Party willing to provide national service for free. But you all want it because you all believe that you know better than everybody, and you all is the best thing since sliced bread. So you all don't want to hear what the New National Party has to say on things. Yeah? That's the situation that we're seeing here, folks. What is the achievement when it comes to housing? When they go in and talk about WASH program, start off talking about WASH program. When they start off talking about that in the town hall meetings, when they start off talking about the WASH program in the town hall meetings, they must first explain how $500,000 was given to nation builders before nation builders was properly constituted, and the documentation is there, so they can't say that we lie. They must also say how come nation builders was registered through the Prime Minister's law firm, and its physical address was given as the Prime Minister's law firm building, in other words, the Prime Minister place. Yet still they get $500,000 from the same Prime Minister cabinet. And how the members that constitute the organization, the head people, the directors, that the three of them are known to be NDC activists. So explain, when you start talking about nation builders, explain that part first. And then we could discuss the other parts. Explain that part first, and then we go talk about nation builders and WASH program. Yeah, so if you're claiming that as an achievement, let's talk about that. What you want to claim? The fortnightly pay? Has that impacted the economy in Grenada properly? Listen, we're facing a situation where businesses are being hit hard. And let me tell you why. One, people that want to buy clothes in Grenada, it has gotten to the stage now that the banks and everybody giving you a debit card, the credit union giving you a debit card, people going online, they're going on Amazon, they're going on Shein, and they're buying this stuff. They buy what they have to buy. They go on Amazon, they buy this stuff, they go on Shein, some relative coming back to the country, they say, bring down a bag with them thing for me, and the relative come down and they bring down the bag for them. So that is how a lot of people been getting this stuff lately. So they're not going in Grenville again and look for a dress because they have this function coming up. The men not going and say, let me go and buy a jeans here, or let me go and get sneakers. They're buying this stuff online. It is having a negative effect on business. But outside of that, the people who can't do that don't have the financial means to buy locally anyway. So you have some of these stores in Grenville Town and even in St. George that opening every day, and sometime at the end of the week, they make $300 and $400. Meanwhile, the rent is how much? $1,000 a month. So don't be surprised that you see some of them closing. Don't be surprised that you see some of them, it's just the person that owned the business sit down inside there because they had to send home the staff. And then with them making less money, they also have to pay minimum wage. Now, I do have a problem with people earning more money, but it has made it difficult for some people who already not making any money to have to pay more money to staff. So in many instances, they have to actually get rid of some of the staff. It's a straight case. What's going on? And anybody that's going out there would know that these things are taking place. So with all of that happening, you telling me that what these people come in and tell you early, what is their plan? What is their strategy to deal with these issues? Yeah? What is their plan? Because these people seem to make decisions on a whim. You have a situation where you have the most murders by the gun within the last 24 months. The only time that you had more than that was October 1983. I keep repeating that because it's a fact. The last time you had so many people dying by the gun in Grenada was October 1983. There is no other comparable period in the history of Grenada. Probably only when the Caribs jump over the cliff. That's the only other time that they probably had that kind of Fedon's rebellion or so on. That's the only other time you could probably talk about when so many people died through gun violence. What is the strategy? So, okay, you increase the firearm. Okay, that's one thing. So you increase that. I know of countries in the region where if they find you with an unlicensed gun, the first thing they is straight to jail. Yet still men bringing containers of gun into Grenada, containers with numerous firearms in it, and more than one shipment coming in and then walk out the court a free man. What are you saying to others who may attempt to do it? Because they're going to study how he get away with it, and they're going to try the same thing and say, well, if it applied to him, it must apply to me too. So you're going to have a similar situation taking place. Yeah, you're going to have a similar situation taking place. And what is being put in place to protect the Grenadian people in that sense, and in the sense of what is taking place on our waters around? Again, I want to congratulate the Royal Grenada Police Force for the excellent job that they're doing. By the same token, I want to say maybe you only need to get rid of special branch because it ain't making no sense. It ain't so special right now. Yeah? Special branch looking more like special education. Because I don't know what's going on with all on that. Because they are the ones that are supposed to be going out there and dealing with these issues. They are not supposed to be the ones that the leader of His Majesty's opposition go in town to go and walk around and visit people, and you're trailing him a few feet off, play like you're talking on your phone and snapping pictures of him. That is not what special branch is about. Special branch is about crime, not following political people around the place. Or that you see Emlyn Pierre go into her constituency and she moving around, and your vehicle had to pass 3 times because you want to make sure that you count the number of people that she's speaking to and see who they are. Or that Peter David passed on the carnage and you want to go and make sure that you have pictures of who he's talking to on the carnage and how long he stayed. You're making note to go and report on a Monday morning. That's why I say special branches like special ed right now. They need to focus on the criminals in the country and stop focusing on who the political people are and what the political people are doing. If they're looking for people who are political and involved in crime, don't look in the NNP, wrong party. Let me repeat that. If they want to look at political people who are involved in crime, don't look at the New National Party. It might be more wise to look at the ruling party and certain individuals, even down to people who sit down in cabinet right now. Yeah? That is who they might have to go and check to see who has been involved in crime. Stop going and follow Dr. Mitchell when he's walking around the place. Stop going and macking MPs when they're going around the constituency or when they have functions. Or you have to come and park up and try and count how much people in the function. Tinted glass ain't saving all we know the vehicles. So, you think we stupid? We know you all are. Come on, man. Some of us were in Somalia passing out parade. We must know all these police officers. And those of you that ain't passed through the normal system, we still know you all are. So that kind of nonsense had to stop. Again, all of this adds to the creation of that state of fear. Don't talk to members of the opposition. Don't be seen with them. That's the kind of nonsense that you see taking place. They're so afraid that we get information about what is taking place in the ministries. Yeah, they're so afraid. They even get rid of the cleaners in the ministry and all, because they feel that these cleaners are New National Party supporters. They get rid of them from the ministerial complex. No explanation, no nothing. They just get rid of them. Yeah? Just, that is it. All your contract end here. All you go, we're bringing in some other people. You had individuals who had the food place down at the bottom of the ministerial complex. Miss Cummins. I ain't afraid to call her name. Miss Cummins, she had the food place there. There's an arrangement between her and the government of Grenada during the COVID period. They come and they use that period now and saying, now how you expect an individual who has a restaurant in the ministerial complex that is providing a service to the people in the area there, when there's a lockdown and everybody working at home, is it reasonable to expect that person to pay the same level of rent for a place that they can't open during that period of time due to restrictions that was put in place by the government of Grenada? This government come in and say that all they owe for that period of time when there was an arrangement. So they use that to try and get rid of her there because sure it's one of their friends they want to give the contract now to go and open a restaurant downstairs the ministerial complex, isn't it? Yeah? That's what they want to do. Is one of all their friends all they want to take and give it to if all they ain't do it already. Or they probably do it already. I haven't been following up on that particular one. But I know that all they get rid of the lady and I know the reasoning all they use to get rid of the lady. But during the period of COVID-19 in 2020 there, who was going to work in the ministerial complex? People were working remotely. They were working from home. Nobody wasn't going in any place where it have a set of other people and central air conditioning system passing anything around. Wasn't taking chance. So you expect an individual, reasonably, you expect the individual to pay you all the normal rent for during that period. Come on, man. Come on. Just say you don't want the people there and you get rid of them. Don't use them kind of stupid, dotish excuse. Just say you didn't want the people there. You want to give it to one of your friends and you do that. The same way that you all did with all the security contracts and so, and you get rid of people and you just give the security contracts to your supporters. And all you do it in an unabashed way, and all you make sure you do it in a big way that people could see is all your supporters, all you're giving it to. That is not probably you want to do, just say so. Don't try to give us the impression that Grenada is not on an equal footing right now when it's only all you and all your people that eating. You all are the only ones that eating right now. Yeah? You all are the ones who are eating, man. You all say all kind of thing about the new national party. And what you all are doing now is 10 times worse than anything you all accuse the new national party of. 10 times worse. Find out some ministers had a brother, the uncle, and still take the sister and had them as contractors. The brothers and thing, you know. Who government ministers taking the sister and all kind of thing, and the aunt and this one, some of the people over the age of retirement, you send home people from jobs and tell them that how they've reached the age of retirement, you send them home, then hire your own family member who is over the age of retirement and put them into the same position. That making sense? As long as something sensible to you all, these people have to be mad. Because these are the things that they're doing. These are the same people accuse the NNP of nepotism. Well, who have more nepotism than them? How more despotic and nepotism could you have than the prime minister of the country is the person that signs off on citizenship for people under the CBI program, owns a company that is doing CBI. So if I am a developer, if I'm one of the people building a hotel and investors are coming to me and they want to become part of my development, so they need a local agent, well, all I know is the prime minister company are sending them to, because I want a good relationship with the prime minister. So if it's 50 of them are sending 25, but the prime minister is sending 25 by the minister of finance. You know why I'm sending 25 by the minister of finance? Because the minister of finance has a CBI company too, and he's the one that signs off on the concessions. So when a hotel is developed and they need concessions to be able to operate, so let's say they have 25 years worth of concession in relation to food and drinks. So they get away from having to pay taxes on those sort of things. Or they get concessions on the bookings for 10 years or 5 years or whatever it is. So the various concessions that they can get, the concessions on the building materials that they have to bring in, that they don't pay the VAT and so on that. Or the concession on vehicles that they may bring in that they need to use for the business place and that kind of thing. So all of those concessions, contrary to what you were hearing from the other idiot the other day, all of those concessions have to pass through the Ministry of Finance for these developers under the CBI. Yet still the Minister of Finance is a CBI agent himself. Yeah? Again, in my view, the Minister of Finance company, the Prime Minister company, the Envoy company, Ms. Andrea St. Bernard, all of those need to be struck off the list. Mr. Victor Nazenberg realized you need to eat a food and you just come in and think so. I might say leave you still, but the rest had to go. That is a direct conflict of interest in any country that you go. Not conflicts again, I remember, conflict of interest in any country that you go in. They will tell you that that is a direct conflict of interest. The person who's signing off on the CBI, the head of cabinet, when CBI is being discussed. So you're telling me the two CBI agents just step out of cabinet anytime CBI is being discussed? Come on, what are you fooling with that? We're joking with that. And even if they step out, so the other members of cabinet, they know who that company belong to? So you're telling me that this recommendation is going to come from the CBI unit to the cabinet for these 10 or 20 people to be made citizens under the CBI program, and the agent that is doing that is the Prime Minister's own, and anybody in cabinet go say, well, CBI unit recommend them, but it's the Prime Minister and they're not getting through? Come on. Use that with somebody else. Don't use that with people with common sense. You see the people that listen to this program and view this program, these people have common sense. Sister, I hope you have a corn for me. I think I'll try roast corn for the first time in a few years. Sister, you and your husband and your daughter, keep my roast corn for me. I'll pass for it. Yeah? Not tomorrow. I'll pass on Saturday for it. Nice. Yeah. So I'm telling you that we have a situation where there are serious conflicts of interest. Yes, you have the Integrity Commission, which has just been put together and so on. And different individuals, I could do it, you could do it. Some of us have to do the thing and bring it to them. Yeah? We have to make sure and make a case and say this is a conflict of interest according to the Integrity in Public Life Act. Yeah, government ministers selling t-shirts and thing too. They're promoting themselves because they're using their position as a government minister to promote t-shirts. So them is talking points, sir. Which remind me, we are talking points t-shirts and all you checking Cammy. We are talking points t-shirts there still. No, we do not have extra large, but we have large. We have black. Yeah? So I can check Cammy and get a talking points t-shirt. I find we get cold on the talking points t-shirts. We need to start, yeah. We have quite a few. So it's only conflict of interest when it's the new national party. It's not conflict of interest. And look at the level of the conflict of interest now. In the new national party, you had no one who sat in the cabinet that was involved directly or indirectly in CBI. You had one minister whose wife was a CBI agent, and that was it. You didn't have nobody that was sitting in the cabinet that was a CBI agent. Nobody. You could imagine what would have been said by these individuals had Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell been a CBI agent and also be the person that was signing off on citizenship for the people under the CBI program. And remember, with this happening, they said $1.3 billion came into Grenada's CBI program last year. That's their claim. $1.3 billion came into Grenada's CBI program in the year 2023. At a point in time when the Prime Minister is a local agent, he could say as much as he wants, even if he sets aside his shares in the company, which is the majority shares because it's named after he. Even if he set it aside and he says that it is in a trust that he's going to deal with that when he comes out of office, it still does not absolve him of the fact that he's a CBI agent. He is still a CBI agent. So said the Minister of Finance as well. So they could go and they could take out what they want on the CBI website and they could put what they want. We copy everything that was there already, so we have all the information. So we could prove what we're saying. Yeah? And folks, I need to tell you all as well, we need to start looking at some of these fly-by-night companies that popping up in Grenada that I never hear about, you never hear about, but getting contracts for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Fly-by-night. Companies that registered in 2023 and get contracts by the end of 2023 and early in 2024 for hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's going to be very interesting because I see some of them trying to make the stupid argument. It's a stupid argument, and let's just call it what it is. You know me, I'm going to mince words to say it. It's a stupid argument to claim that Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, being the head of the Public Finance Committee, know where the money for independent spending. That is not true. That is not true. The information has to be provided to the Public Finance Committee And the excuse, even in Parliament right now, is that the celebrations ain't done, so they can't put everything together to send it. So we don't know how much the fireworks cost, do we? We don't know how much the drone show costs. We don't know how much the paints cost, so we don't know how much the companies that selling paint and so make, and if it was done through anybody. And so we don't know. Probably millions of dollars was spent on paint. We don't know. So some serious investigation has to take place there, because there are some companies that are service providers due to the 50th anniversary of independence, and these companies just suddenly appear. They was never there before. They was never doing work in those areas before, but they have just suddenly appeared. So some investigation has to take place. Yeah? And folks, this is our final program for the week. We started in our normal studio, and now we in an alternate studio for the last 2 nights. On Monday night, we will be back to our normal setting with our clips, with our music, and everything. God's willing, we'll be back in our normal studio on Monday, God's willing. But we can't say that we're not going to do the program. We must do talking points. We must do, wherever in the world, we must do talking points. You know why? There are many people that look forward to this program on a nightly basis, and we appreciate you all. It has to be something serious, like what happened with me last week, where I had my problem with my hands, and as such, I was unable to come in and do the program. Really, physically, I could not have done it. Or you know me, I would have forced and do it. But physically, we could not have done the program last week. There was no way. I tried, but I couldn't leave home to come and do it. There was no way. So, we will do the program as long as we can, wherever we are. Even if it has to be like this, or with a different setting, or in the studio, you will get your talking points. And as we improve, going to make sure that we have a mobile unit. Sometime we might have to do talking points on the outside some way instead of in the studio. Sometime we're going to set it up in a way that we could do talking points, whether it's in the middle of Grenville or wherever we're doing our talking points. So we go up Carriacou and we're doing talking points, the Carriacou edition. Whatever it is, and we have to do it, we're going to do it. Because we want to be able to speak to you on a nightly basis and make sure that you have the information on a nightly basis. Yeah, because we know a lot of you look forward to this program. I meet people every day, and I must tell you all, I appreciate it so much when I meet you all and you tell me, listen, I'm a silent listener. And I ain't upset with nobody that tell me they're a silent listener, because I understand the reason for the silence. But I know that you're there. I know that you're listening the message. And I know that you're making sure that you're registered. I can't finish tonight without saying that. I know that you're making sure that you're registered. And I know that you're making sure that all the new voters are registered as well. And I know that you're checking that voters list. And you're looking for the names of the people that, who is this person? Look, check the list in your community. Who is this person? Me, I know this person. Yeah? So we have to check the list. We have to make sure, because we are not sure when that time will come, when the bell will be rung and elections will come. So we have to make sure that we are ready at any point in time. If they call an election and they give just the bare minimum of the 21 days, exclusive of weekends and public holidays, they just give the bare 21 working days to a general election, then we have to make sure that in that space of time, we could do what we have to do, and we do have to be going in that space of time to run the court to say, well, oh, these names have to be removed, and so because the court going to deal with that somewhere down the road, and these people get to vote. So we have to get who have to come off the list. We have to get them off now. But we also have to keep our eye on the electoral office. Watch the moves. Supervisor of election just changed. Bam. New voter system coming. Keep your eyes on the electoral system. We're watching everything that's going on in the country. We're paying attention to everything that's going on in our country. But we have to mind our business if our business had to mind us. So we have to pay attention to what is going on with the electoral list, the electoral office, the supervisor of elections. We have to pay attention with the new system that's coming in place, know what it entails, know what we need to do, know how to utilize it. All of us have a part to play. Whether you're acting as a 1 in 20, a coordinator, a canvasser, whatever position, you have a part to play even if it's just to come out and drive, be one of the people that helping carry people to the polling stations on election day. You have a part to play. You may be a silent listener, but on election day, you have to do like my good friend Norma and remind them who is the real boss. Before they could fire you, you fire them. Folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here. In everything you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. Love each and every one of you. I've had a very, very, very tiring day today. I had to make some presentations, all kind of thing today. So the voice, that's it for the voice. By in the morning, I didn't think I could talk. So luckily, we don't have the Friday night program this week, but we will be returning with the Friday night forum from next week. We did miss some days in the week last week. I want to make up for that. So come next week, we will be returning with the Friday night forum. So I'd like to thank all of you that contacted me, all of you that have called, all of you that provide information in relation to various issues that you have information on. Each and every one of you, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here with us on Talking Points, being the wonderful, wonderful family. You all are more than listeners to me. You all are like family to me. And I want to thank each and every one of you. Love you all. Do have a wonderful and a safe weekend, because I want to speak to you all on Monday. Once again, back from Proper Studio. We are out. Enjoy the rest of your night.